Hey everybody, it's Travis with Food Forest Design Minnesota. And today I'm going to make a video. I hope it's short, so I might get a little long. But what I want to talk to you about is what actually happens when you get a Food Forest Design blueprint with Food Forest Design Minnesota and our process. It's, some people think it's a garden, but we do not design gardens. Okay, gardens are your little annual vegetable gardens you can put in your backyard. Some people have little ones, some people have big ones. Okay, a food forest is an intelligently designed ecosystem. Okay, and basically a food forest, there's 7 layers to a food forest, and I'm going to hold up a piece of paper right here. I hope you can see it. But basically, it's not a very good picture. I don't know if you can see that. Okay. But we have your tall trees are the canopy, and that's your canopy layer. Those are large fruit trees or nut trees. And then you go to your lower tree layer, which are dwarf fruit trees and some other smaller trees. And the third layer would be your shrub layer, and like berries and currants, and there's a lot of berries that are buffalo berry, nitrogen fixers and stuff like that. And we have your herbaceous layer, which is comfrey, beets, and some herbs and stuff like that. And then we have your rhizosphere, which is your rooting vegetables and your tubers. And then we have your surface, your ground covers, such as clover or wild strawberry and stuff like that. And then we have your vining plants, which are your vertical climbers. So we actually use your tree as a trellis. So we will put vining plants at the vine right up the trunk of the tree. Okay, now all of those layers it's called a guild. Okay, there's all the layers to your food forest. That's everywhere. But when we put a guild together, let's say we put an apple tree in your backyard, your front yard, or wherever we are planting. You're going to put your apple tree, and then that's your center. Okay, that's in the center. And then we're going to, sometimes you have rows, and sometimes you just have a circle, a round guild. So you're going to have your tree in the middle, and then you're going to plant all the other layers around that tree. Now that's a guild. Now they're all working together, and I guess I got a meeting at 3:00. I don't know. I can't remember what that's for, but I got a video conference at 3:00. But in your guild, like I said, it's a community of trees and bushes and plants and all that work together. They all serve their own purpose. You have your fruit tree in the middle. Now, fruit trees have a very short root system. They don't go very deep. So we plant others around there, the herbaceous layer, such as comfrey. Now, comfrey has a very, very long taproot that goes down about 7-8 feet in the ground, and it gets the nutrients and the minerals from the soil that your fruit tree roots cannot get to. So what happens is, as the comfrey grows, it's taking up all those nutrients and minerals in its stems, its trunk, and its leaves, and its flowers. It's not only is it attracting, sorry, I had to turn that off. It's not only attracting your beneficial butterflies and bees, it's also taking up all the nutrients in its entire plant, its entire structure. So what happens is as it grows and once it gets mature, usually in a season, it will grow full size 2 or 3 times. So once it grows, it gets about 3 feet high. Sometimes they get larger than that and they get full of purple flowers. You can chop them down. Okay, you chop them down and you use it as mulch in your guild. So all the nutrients that comfrey has taken up is now going to be a live mulch that goes right back into the soil. It's adding nutrients. It's building soil. Okay, so now it's feeding your fruit trees and everything else that's growing, your berry bushes and everything. It's giving them the nutrients that they would not rather get because their root system is not long enough. Okay. Anyway, that's just one thing about it. Then you got your pest deterrents. You would plant those around the outer edge of your guild to keep the pests away. You got deer, you got bunnies, you got squirrels, you got all types of stuff that can get in there and make your day go kind of shitty. Okay. You go outside and you see that your apple tree or your peach tree or your pear tree, all the branches are eaten off because the deer got to it. Okay. Not only can you plant stuff, but you can throw a cage. You can put some fencing around your tree until it gets tall enough to where the deer can't get at it anymore. It's pest deterrents. Okay. And then you have all types of your pollinators, your insect attractors, and sometimes you might have clay soil. So you want to grow stuff that breaks that up and makes it easier to grow in that soil. So everything's doing its part. So that is why, a design is not as simple as putting a tree in the ground. You're designing an ecosystem that is going to be hands off as much as possible for you. Just like you're driving down the road and you see trees, a forest, or some woods, a wooded area on the side of the road as you're driving. Well, who takes care of that? Nobody. Nature takes care of that. It takes care of itself. Okay? And then if you look, you'll see you have your really tall trees. And then you have your short trees. And then you have you might call weeds. And you see some bushes. And you might see some bushes with berries on them. And all types of stuff. And then you look, if you walk through it, you're going to see stuff that grows on the ground. And you got your ground covers. Okay? It's all serving its purpose. They're all helping each other. They all communicate with each other. Okay? That is hands off. You look, it's winter time here in Minnesota, so all the trees drop their leaves and they're taking a nap. They're going to sleep. They're dormant until springtime when they wake up again and start growing again. So that is what we are designing on your property. We're designing an ecosystem that works with nature. We don't try to recreate the wheel and work against nature, because when you work against nature, it doesn't go well for you. It never will. Mother Nature can be cruel without being cruel. That's just the way things are. But anyway, let's get into this. So we design an ecosystem, and then whatever else we are putting on your property. You might want 10 fruit trees or 20 fruit trees. And then you want a row of raspberry bushes or blueberry bushes, or you want to grow kiwi. Yes, you can grow kiwi in Minnesota. There's a few different kinds. And it does grow here. So don't let anyone tell you it doesn't, because I have planted it and I have actually seen it grow. So it grows up in Duluth. So don't tell me it doesn't grow here, please. Or that it can't. Because it is proven to grow here. And you can also design the property and design microclimates that help things grow here too. Anyway, but what we do is we're also looking at, when we look at your property, we're looking at the sun patterns. Where is the sun coming from? How much sun does your property get every day in the certain areas? Do you have trees? Do you have a wooded area around your property that the sun or the trees are blocking the sun for a certain time of the day, a couple hours of the day? So we determine all of that. We determine the water, the rainfall, the contours of your property. And if possible, we like to watch when it rains, when we get a heavy rain, because all that water is coming into your property. Now we can see where that water is going to go. Okay, you have slopes, and you might have some hills in your yard, but we're going to watch, where does that water go? And what we do is we try to capture that water and keep it. Water is energy. Sun is energy. Wind is energy. All that stuff is energy. And we want to keep as much energy as possible in your system, because that is nature, okay? And we use all of that energy until it leaves your property. So, like, if you have water that runs downhill in your property and then it's gone, right? Well, what we'll try to do is we will try to capture some of that water and slow it up so it doesn't leave your property. We want to capture it into the soil, and it will act, so your soil is going to act like a sponge in a way. So it rains, and then we capture that water, and now it stays in your system. So you don't have to keep watering your trees and your plants and everything, because we're capturing that water. And we're also using mulch. So when we put a bunch of mulch on top of the top layer of soil, that is going to help keep the moisture in your soil. And it's not going to dry out. It's also going to keep the sun and the rain, when that rain comes down, there's not going to be any erosion of your soil, because that mulch is protecting the soil. And then once the water comes into it, it stays in there. And that mulch, like I said, it's acting like a sponge. It's going to keep it in there. So those are some of the types of things that we watch. So we're going to go to Google Earth. We're going to get an image of your property from Google Earth, and we're going to be able to tell all the dimensions of your property. And then we're also going to, there's many different websites we go to that are going to determine, okay, we're going to find out the history of your property, the history of the city you live in, the town you live in, whatever. So we're going to know what soil type is in your area. So that helps us determine what type of soil amendments to put in the soil when we put your trees in the ground. Because when we don't just dig a hole and put a tree in there like your ornamental trees. Your nurseries would come and put a oak tree in your yard or a pine tree or whatever. They're just digging a hole and they're throwing them in your yard. Most likely, I don't know how much soil amendments they're going to add to it, but we determine your soil type, and then there's a bunch of different soil additives and amendments that we add to that hole. Okay? And if you have like a clay soil, we're going to put certain amendments in there that help break that soil up over time and make it easier for your plants and trees and shrubs and bushes to grow. Eventually, it's going to break that soil up and you're going to have amazing soil to grow in. Then we determine how much rainfall do you get every year, what's the wind patterns, and how much sun you're going to be getting in your area and stuff like that. And so we're not just throwing trees in the ground and hoping for the best. We are using permaculture principles, and we are looking at what nature is giving you, giving me, and then we're designing with nature. Okay, so we are not your normal landscape designers. We, like I said, design ecosystem. So what happens once we determine all of those factors? So we're going to plant, like I said, plant everything out. Your yard, say you want 10 or 20 fruit trees, we're going to plant those out. We're going to get there all the additional plants and bushes, everything that goes along with those. And once we, okay, that's the planting part. What do you get from us other than we take all these factors, we design a blueprint of your property, and just like you have a blueprint for a house or any landscape design, we're going to have everything laid out in a blueprint for you so you can see what everything looks like. And I will, when I edit this video, I'll throw in some screenshots of what I'm talking about. So hopefully I'll get this, when I get done shooting this video, it's probably going to take me a few hours to add all the other stuff into it. But I will show you some AI generated fruit tree guilds and some images of other properties that I've already done and stuff like that. So you get what we deliver to you once you get your design blueprint is we hand off to you a blueprint of your design. Okay, like I said, I'm gonna add some screenshots or some images of what a blueprint looks like, and it will pop up, and then you'll see it. And so you're actually going to see what your property looks like in a blueprint. And then we also take a narrative, okay? We're going to tell you the entire history and story of your design, okay? Let me pull this up, okay? And basically, this is another property I've done out in Roberts, Wisconsin. And a typical narrative, okay, this design is for a 1 acre property over in Roberts, Wisconsin. And in this table of contents, we have the steward's goals. That's your goals, what you want to accomplish with your property. So we're going to have your goals in there. And then we're going to have a history of the land, your land and all of that. And then we're going to have your climate and sector analysis, which is, like I said, sun, rain, wind, contour, all that type of stuff, soil types and stuff like that. And then we're going to have a design plan. We're going to narrate your entire design plan. Here's what we're doing, and all the features that go along into your design. So a narrative could be 50 pages, a 50-page PDF, which is it's like reading a book about your property. Okay, so we get in the design plan of the features, and then we go through the project phasing. So we have phase 1. Okay, let's say it's the fall. It's September, October. Okay, it's too late to plant your annual garden, right? Because you want to plant that in as soon as the ground is the last frost is done and the ground is not frozen anymore. You want to plant everything, your annual garden. That's usually your vegetables, but everything else we can put in the ground, which is called your annual garden, your vegetables and stuff like that, and those are annuals. A tree, a berry bush, all those types of things, those are perennials. And what a perennial is, it means it goes to sleep in the fall, comes back in the spring, just like your trees do out in front of your house and your bushes and all that stuff. Okay, or some people have your ornamental flowers and trees and bushes out in front of your house. They go to sleep in the winter, they wake up in the spring again. So we plant all the way up until the ground freezes. Okay, so even after the first frost of the year, your trees will go dormant. Okay, then they're going to start dropping their leaves. Well, we can still plant as long as the ground is not frozen. We can still put trees in the ground. I have put trees in the ground all the way up until Thanksgiving. I've had it snow on the very last day I put a tree in the ground, but the ground is not frozen yet, so it doesn't matter. We can still put that tree in the ground. And we have all the amendments and everything, and it still gives it a little time for the roots to kind of start working their way and getting established. So in the springtime, those trees are going to wake right back up and they're going to start growing. So that would be phase one, is getting all your perennials planted. And phase two would be in the spring, is planting all your annuals or whatever else we could not get planted in the fall, we'll plant in the spring. We might have to, build raised garden beds for you and stuff like that. There, it could be many different things. We can do it in phases. So that is part of the narrative. And then we go into your soil amendments, what we're adding in the soil and stuff like that to each certain, berry bushes like blueberries. They need a pH level, a more acidic pH. So we're going to add some amendments to give them the best chance of them to thrive in your system. And then we might go over different things like we might build a hugelkultur bed and so forth in your yard. So we explain what a hugelkultur is, and we have images. So we have everything you need so you can see what it is. Okay. And then we have our zones, our design zones. Zone one is right outside your door, your back door. Everything that you want to be accessible as close to your home, your back door as possible, your fruits, your vegetables, your herbs. Put an herb spiral right out your back door, so when you're getting ready to cook dinner, you can run right outside with your little scissors and cut off some herbs for dinner, or pick out some tomatoes or peppers or whatever. Everything in zone one is right there. And then you start working your way out, zone 2, zone 3, zone 4, depending on what you're growing. Okay? And then you might have a greenhouse or want a greenhouse. So we are going to put a narrative about your greenhouse. What type of greenhouse, where it's going, and then we have pruning. We go into pruning, when you put your trees in the ground for the first couple of years until they get established, you are going to want to prune your trees to keep them under control. You don't want them to get all wild because you want it to be as less maintenance as possible, low maintenance. So we prune the trees and we keep them under control. And that also helps the trees grow better too. So, and then we go over, let's say you want to put a rainwater harvesting system, rainwater barrels, types of stuff like that. And then we go over to composting stuff, biochar, and just additional stuff like that. So we are very, very specific, and everything is written out in black and white and images. So you could take this design blueprint and install it yourself. Okay, we take all the guesswork out for you. So a lot of people hire me to do it, and then we will install it for you. But there's a lot of people that they like to do this, and so they'll do it themselves. So we hand off a step-by-step blueprint. You get your blueprint, you get your narrative that goes over your entire design, that explains everything that's in there. And then we also have what's an owner's manual. And basically what that is, it's an introduction to permaculture. What is permaculture? We introduce you to what permaculture is, and we go over what everything. And then with chapter 2 is your installation steps. Chapter 3 is food forest maintenance. Chapter 4, becoming self-reliant. Chapter 5, resources and support. Okay? And basically, you know, and when we go over this, you got your ecosystem, your layers, your design zones, all of that. So every step of the way, you're going to be able to take this, print out this PDF file or have a tablet. You're going to be able to read everything. You're going to know everything, what to do. And then once you install it yourself or we install it for you, you're going to know what to do because everything's going to be written out for you. And also, you can also hire us and we will do the maintenance for you. We will come and prune your trees. We will come and basically check up on you. You know, we can come once every 2 weeks or once a week to check up on your system and help you out. You know, some people want to be hands off totally, and that's okay. We will take care of it for you. And that's a different part of the process. You know, maintenance is different from the install. So we are there. And also, you know, if there is water issues on your land, what we do is you can put swales in, you put terraces in, but that's all, we discuss all that when we are putting your plan together. So kind of giving you a better idea of what goes into a food forest design blueprint and how we design your property, and then what we actually deliver to you. And I can't forget this. We give you a plant list of all the plants and trees and everything that are going in your yard. And let me pull this up. Not only is the plant list on your blueprint with a key. So in your blueprint, you're going to see, like when I put a screenshot of what a blueprint looks like, you're going to see an apple tree. There's going to be a key, and there's going to be a key over on the side. Everything it's abbreviated out for whatever tree or bush or plant or whatever is going in your yard. So you're going to be able to look at the plant list, and you're going to see, let's just use A for apple, okay? Then you're going to look over on your blueprint, and you're either going to have a circle with an A in it, or you'll have an actual image of an apple tree, depending on what type of blueprint you will get. Some are more in depth, some are, you know, they're large, so you just use icons and symbols. But everything has a key laid out so you can see what everything is in your system. Let me pull this up and I can tell you also. And you're going to have the plant list. You're going to have the GPS coordinates of your property, the elevation of your property, the hardiness zone, which is in Minnesota is zone 4B. Over in Wisconsin, over the border is zone 4B. You're going to have your humidity and, you know, summer, the wet, you know, the rainfall, stuff like that, the soil type. Everything is in your blueprint. And, yeah, like I said, and you can DIY it or we can do it for you. And that, my friends, is what goes into a food forest design blueprint that we work together with you to give you a self-sufficient, low-maintenance Garden of Eden. Imagine looking out your window in your backyard and seeing of cherry trees, pear trees, peach trees, nectarines, apples. Depending on where you live down south in the warmer climates, you got oranges, you got lemons, you got limes, mangoes, and stuff like that. Obviously, here in Minnesota, the only way you're going to grow citrus is in a greenhouse or indoors. I grow lemons and limes inside. I grow banana trees inside. And in the winter, I bring them outside. I have a pomegranate tree. I have an olive tree. I have probably about 10 banana trees. And they don't have bananas on them yet because they're only one's about 4 feet high, the other one, a couple 3 feet high. And then I have a bunch of little pups that I take off the mother trees. And so I have a bunch of stuff that I grow indoors and outdoors. So depending on where you are, I will design your property if you're not in Minnesota too. Okay. I can do that. I have a network of permaculture designers all over the United States. So it doesn't matter where you live. I can design your backyard for you and we can get that installed for you too. But that's all I want to do. I got kind of to be a long video. And but I hope that explains it better. And this right now, it's winter in Minnesota, so this is going to be the best time for you to design your property. Over the winter, we design everything, and then as soon as spring hits, it's time to start putting it in the ground. Okay, that you have nothing to do you can't do anything over the winter. So let's design your property. Get it all designed, get everything ready, and then as soon as spring gets here, boom, we put it in the ground for you. And there you go. And we try to, it's a little more spendy, but the more mature trees you get, the faster you are going to be to food, to abundance, okay? So normally, unless you're buying a tree that already has fruit on it, which is possible because they're nurseries that I use for my fruit trees, they have amazing trees. I have never got a bad tree from this nursery, and every single time I have planted these trees, they have fruited the next season. So if I planted them in the fall, the following spring, they had fruit on them. Now, they're not huge trees yet, so they're not going to have a ton of fruit, but they're going to have some. And then year after year, you get more and more and more of a yield. So while your initial investment is food in the ground, okay? And now the return year after year grows and grows and grows. Okay, before you know it, you're never going to have to go to the grocery store again for fruits and vegetables because you're going to have everything right at your fingertips, right outside your back door. And here in Minnesota, you're going to have to learn to preserve your food, or we are going to start offering that as a service, is to help you preserve your food for the winter. So we would come and help you harvest your food so you can store it over the winter. And then there you go. And then when it's warm, you don't have to worry anymore. And what else was I going to say? I had something it left, but I'm already at 30 minutes, so we got to get this video, end this video and and then get this edited so I can get it online. But anyway, like I said, this is a perfect time to get your property designed. So, and right now, I will give you $500 off a design. So go, the link in the bottom of this video. It will be Food Forest Design Minnesota. Go to my website and schedule a consultation with me or one of my other designers. I am sorry, my camera got too hot and it shut off. So, like I was saying, there will be a resource and we will tell you everywhere to get your plants and your trees and everything else, seeds, soil amendments, your mulch, everything. We'll have that all laid out for you, or else we will do that for you. And so there you go, everybody. I hope this kind of give you a better idea of what a food forest design is all about. So go to my website, Food Forest Design Minnesota, set up a consultation, give me a call, and let's get your Garden of Eden designed for you so you can put in the ground in the spring. Grow food, not lawns. We'll talk to you soon. Have an amazing weekend.